How's it going, YouTube? Dom here. In this video, we're going to talk about why most programmers will fail. So, I get a lot of comments on the YouTube channel nowadays, and a lot of people are in what's called analysis paralysis, right? Another thing that I'm noticing a lot on the channel from my comments is, people will be jumping from language to language because of uncertainty of external factors in the marketplace. So these are the two things that I really wanted to address today. So without further ado, let's get right into it. So the first reason why a lot of people will fail is simply because of, analysis paralysis and, what I call shiny object syndrome, right? And I'm going to cover both of these because both of them are very related to each other anyway. So what is shiny object syndrome? Shiny object syndrome is when let's just say that you pick up web development, right? You pick up web development and then, you hear on the news or from some guy on YouTube like me that web development is dying, right? So you're doubting your decision to learn web development, and then you decide, well, maybe it's going to be AI, or maybe it's going to be backend. Well, maybe it's going to be mobile development. I heard some guy on YouTube that claimed that mobile development was good, so I think I'm going to learn that, right? And while I do talk about mobile development on the channel, and I do have success in mobile development, doesn't necessarily mean that you should do it too, right? It's because I like mobile development, I like phones, I like building apps, right? So I'm more likely to stick with it because I actually enjoy it. And that's one of the reasons how you overcome this shiny object syndrome, is understand that most of these technologies are in demand. Yes, they are competitive. Yes, they are saturated. A lot of people are studying it, but you have to think that 80% of people will actually drop out. They'll quit. They'll do something else, right? So your question is basically, how do you not become this 80%? And there's no statistics behind it. I just made up the number, but I do know that most people will learn to code anyway. So how do you stick with it? The key is to stick with something, right? What I'd do if I were you is I'd go to my job board, I make a list, right? I make a list of, it doesn't matter if it's senior or junior, startup or FANG company, you make a list of all the companies and you make a list of all the job opportunities, right? You add them up and then you say, okay, so these type of companies, there are 300 companies that are looking for web development. There are, 100 companies that are looking for mobile development. There are 500 companies that are looking for backend, and there are 700 companies that are looking for AI. I just made those numbers up, but do the analysis and think, okay, out of all these technologies, what do I enjoy the most, right? So what you want to do is you want to watch a couple tutorials. You want to build a couple projects. It doesn't even matter if you're stuck in tutorial hell. You want to go and build these projects and you want to think to yourself, is this cool? Is this something that, I'm excited to actually work on, right? And then you take your list that you created based on the amount of jobs that you populated on any job board, and you're going to see, okay, is this that I'm learning that I think is cool on this job board, right? If it is, then what you're going to do is you're going to dive deeper. You're going to start creating more unique projects, and you're going to go deep, deep, deep into these until you get enough impressive projects and you just close the windows, shut off the blinds, and and what I mean by that is don't listen to anyone on YouTube. Just keep going in that direction. And I guarantee you, if you do this, you'll get good to the point where you're actually hireable, which is basically half the battle, right? It's getting out of this tutorial hell, and what this is going to allow you to do is going to allow you to get good enough such that you can get a job, right? Because I find a big issue is both with analysis paralysis and shiny object syndrome is people are bouncing through these technologies without actually getting good at one. they kind of have a grip of JavaScript, they kind of have a grip of Python, they kind of have a grip of, Java, and they're not actually good enough to actually, get hired. So you just need to focus. You need to find something that you like, that's in relatively good demand, and you just want to not do anything else. You just want to do that one language, because here's the thing: once you learn that one language, if you want to pivot, it's going to be a lot easier, but you're never going to get to the point if you're just jumping between these different languages, because I admit YouTube is a noisy place, right? And a lot of people are telling you different things because they have a reason to. Maybe they're selling a course, maybe they're, trying to, or maybe because they've done well in it, so naturally they're going to talk about it because they've had success in it. And I'm not going to lie, that's definitely me, right? I've had success in it, so I'm going to talk about it in a positive light. But that doesn't mean just because some guy has success in it doesn't necessarily mean that you will too, right? The most important factor is, do you enjoy it? And do you practice it enough to the point where you're actually good enough to be hireable, right? And this is the real trap that a lot of people will get into, is they never actually get to the point. What you need to do is you need to choose something that's relatively in demand and just go all in on it, right? And it doesn't matter what people say about it. You just gotta trust your gut and know that you need to keep practicing something until it's unreasonable that you wouldn't be good at it. And what I mean by that is, here's the thing: when you start, you're gonna be shit at it. You're gonna suck at it, and that's normal. When I started, I was shit at it, but I kept practicing over time. I kept putting in the hours, putting in the work, and then suddenly I put in so many hours that I was actually decent at it, right? And that's really the key to overcoming shiny object syndrome and analysis paralysis. Make a demand list, choose something that you enjoy, and just go all in, right? So if that video was helpful, don't forget to hit like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.